Then, children of the night, what music they make.
They're coming to get you, Barbara.
They're here.
Welcome to my nightmare.
What an excellent day for an exorcism.
Kill you all.
Do you want to die tonight?
You don't know what death is.
We belong dead.
Here's Johnny.
I shot him 6 times.
Onto your butt.
Reach for your legs.
To a new world of gods and monsters.
Hello, boys and ghouls. This is Robert here with Pods and Monsters, and with me, as always, is Inthia.
Hello.
How do you do, Inthia?
I do well, Robert. How do you do?
I'm doing all right.
Oh, good.
But I am happy to say that today we are going to be talking about my favorite movie of all time. And what movie is that? Take it away, Ernest.
The Bride of Frankenstein.
That's right. We are doing The Bride of Frankenstein, my favorite movie of all time.
Oh, sir, she's gone. A monster. He's got her.
So, Bride of Frankenstein, the classic sequel to the 1931 film. Inthia, you'd seen Bride of Frankenstein before, correct?
Yeah, like twice.
What did you know about it before watching it again?
I knew it was a sequel to Frankenstein.
Yeah.
I knew there was a monster that was created. I knew that I didn't like Una O'Connor. I remember there were tiny people in it.
Right.
Dr. Pretorius, who actually says our podcast name somewhat. And that's really it.
Well, Frankenstein and Bride of Frankenstein are both considered my favorite movies of all time, with Bride of Frankenstein taking the lead by a little bit.
Okay.
I love it so much, I watch it every Halloween night, plus many other times throughout the year.
Yep.
All right, want to get right into it?
Yeah, let's do this.
Bride of Frankenstein.
Do.
I was going to do the bride theme.
My favorite part of that music is when it's all do.
Yeah, that's the best part. That's the Monsters theme. All right, Inthia, let's go through Bride of Frankenstein.
You make man like me? No.
Woman, friend for you.
Woman. Friend. Why?
Really quickly roll through the credit situation on this. We have an NRA. I'm just really paying attention to how many times when does this NRA title card go away? It just seems to be getting more and more elaborate. It's different. It's a little...
I think it was shorter in this one than it was before, but we saw it in The Invisible Man. I don't remember if it was in Werewolf of London or not.
I think it was. So we have the Universal biplane that goes by. Oh, I really like that it says Carl Laemmle presents, and then in really big letters it said Karloff.
Yeah, the Karloff is now billed as simply Karloff after his great fame from Frankenstein, and then he did The Old Dark House and The Mummy and The Ghoul, and now he's back for the role that made him most famous.
It seems like he's just like larger than life at this point.
Yeah.
And the fact that he's just, I mean, he has a great last name and a great first name. I mean, his name is great all around.
Do you know what his real name is?
What? Not Boris?
No, that's a stage name. His real name is William Henry Pratt.
I'm sorry. Come again? What?
Yeah, he's not Russian or anything.
Where did Boris Karloff come from?
There's not really a known fact as to why he chose the name Karloff, but one rumor is that he did it to save embarrassment for his family because, you know, lots of people in his family were part of the British Foreign Service, and him going into acting was not the family
Legacy.
Not what the family would have wanted, perhaps.
Yeah, it's just not following suit. Got it.
And then there are some ideas of where he got his name from. Some people thought maybe it was from a novel called The Drums of Jeopardy with a character named Boris Karloff. But that wasn't published until 1920 when he supposedly had the name before that. And also there's an Edgar Rice Burroughs novel called H.R.H. the Writer. And in that there is a Prince Boris of Karlova. So, some little facts about his name, but there's no proof. No one knows.
Yeah. Well, either way, it's a good name. These credits just have like a smoky background to them. And then we get the cast.
Yeah.
And in it, at the bottom, it says The Monster's Mate. And of course, there's no name for it.
Yeah.
Or no actor's name.
Just a question mark.
Yep.
Which is what they did in the original film for the monster.
Yes. In this one, at the end, they never tell us. I mean, we all know who it is, but she never gets billed as the monster's mate.
Right. The reason why they were able to get away with it was because Elsa Lanchester, who played the Bride of Frankenstein, we will find out she also plays Mary Shelley in the prologue. So she did get a credit in the movie, just not for both parts. Well, it makes it more mysterious.
So we open on a dark and stormy night, and we push into this castle that's up on this hill.
A wonderful little model.
Yes. There are 3 people sitting in an absurdly large room.
And when we enter this room, we see a lady walking by with dogs in the foreground.
Yes.
It's a maid. That maid was Una O'Connor.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. So not only does Elsa Lanchester play dual roles, but so does Una O'Connor.
Okay. I think that might be my favorite role then.
How dare you?
So we meet the 3 people sitting in this sitting room. One of them is Lord Byron, who I think is very annoying.
Yeah, he's a little annoying.
He's very annoying. He's a little pompous.
George Gordon Lord Byron, England's greatest sinner.
We meet Mary Shelley, and then I believe Percy Shelley?
Percy, yes.
So Lord Byron, I actually really like how this begins, and I'm kind of, in thinking about it, a little bummed out that this setting doesn't serve as a bookend. Like, it's only on at the beginning of this movie, and I think it would have been really great if we revisited them at the end of the movie. So Lord Byron talks about how Mary wrote Frankenstein. At this point, it's still unpublished. He's saying that it's just such a, like, grotesque, fantastic, insane novel that people are going to be really disturbed by when they get to read it, and she's going to have to explain to people and justify why she would have written something that's just so bonkers, basically.
It will be published, I think.
Then, darling, you will have much to answer for.
And here's where Byron retells the first movie. He tells everyone, us the audience, what happened, even though he's just telling Mary, but he's just reliving her first story.
Yeah, he's talking about the storm outside and how it's the perfect night for mystery and horror. And he starts retelling the first movie for us, which is the only part of the story that Mary Shelley had told him up until that point.
Yes. And I was just kind of thinking about it, like, why would they spend X amount of minutes on this? And then I remembered, because it's not like people who went to go see this have been watching it multiple times
right.
since it came out initially. So it's a really great device to get them to just refresh everyone's memory and get them caught up.
It's a really nice way to do it. So we get a montage of the first film of everything that happens in it.
Yes.
And there's one scene where Lord Byron says, "And then the murders." And you see a shot of the monster's hand strangling someone. If you look, it's the monster's hands from Bride of Frankenstein, because you see it, they're all burned up and his sleeves are all tattered.
Okay.
So they took some footage from Bride, pretending like it was the first movie.
Yeah. So Mary says that she has more to this story.
And that the air itself is filled with monsters.
Yep.
That wasn't the end at all. Would you like to hear what happened after that? It's a perfect night for mystery and horror. The air itself is filled with monsters.
And we get into the Bride of Frankenstein. So we open on the mill, which is on fire and topples over. And the villagers are around it, and they are so happy that this is gone.
This is the end of The first movie.
Yes.
So if you remember when we did our Frankenstein podcast, remember I had mentioned that Colin Clive wanted Dr. Frankenstein to die, and that was one of the many reasons why he took the part?
Yeah.
It would have made much more sense if they just ended that first movie how it was originally intended to end, which would just be he gets thrown out of the windmill and the flames are taking over the windmill and it fades to black. But they tacked on that new ending where they bring him back home and Elizabeth is taking care of him.
Yeah.
So now we're kind of going back a little bit to this scene where it should have ended. Do you get what I mean?
Yes. We meet Minnie, who is played by Una O'Connor, and she is rejoicing in front of this fire. She's saying that it's the best fire.
That's the best fire I ever saw in all my life.
And there's a woman by her who is very much overtaken by everything and is just crying. They eventually get shooed away by a man who we find out later is the Burgermaster.
The Burgermaster.
Is always going to be the Burgermaster. This is a completely different Burgermaster. They didn't even try to get someone that looked like the first Burgermaster.
That's right. This is E.E. Clive, who was friends with James Whale and most famous for playing
The Burgermaster.
the constable in The Invisible Man.
Look, he's all eaten away.
Oh.
Yeah.
Should have caught that.
Yeah, he has that great handlebar mustache. And
Yeah.
yeah, he's great. I love him. I mean, I prefer this Burgermaster.
Oh, to the other one?
Yeah.
This one does more.
Yeah.
But he is very flippant about everything.
Monster indeed.
Yeah, so he doesn't believe that it's a monster, even though everyone knows it's a monster, but he doesn't believe it. He fights with Una O'Connor and shoos everyone away. They're presuming that Henry is dead. So they send people to go ahead and let Elizabeth and his family know that he's coming.
Yeah.
That they're bringing his body, basically.
Yeah, and the Burgermaster says... Burgermeister?
And Burgomaster?
The Burgermaster. You have to say it with an English accent.
No, it's Burgermaster.
The Burgermaster says...
But it's the guy from McDonald's,
Yeah.
the Hamburglar.
Or the guy with the hamburger head.
Wait, so is there the Hamburglar? And then what's the name of the Sheriff Burger?
I don't know what his name is.
Is he the Burgermaster?
He has to be. He has to be. Hold on. If he's not, I'm going to be really mad.
Oh, I hope he's the Burgermaster.
It's Mayor McCheese.
You know, we can't go back to McDonald's. They've let us down.
How did I not remember that was Mayor McCheese, too?
Wait, why is Mayor McCheese dressed up as a police officer?
He's not. He's wearing like a mayor outfit. He's dressed up like a Burgermaster. I mean, I guess he is a Burgermaster, basically.
He is a Burgermaster, but wait a minute, what? Are you sure there's no cop burger?
There's a criminal burger.
Seriously, no, this Hamburglar. Okay, well, Mayor McCheese. Whoa. As you were saying about the Burgermaster.
So what I was saying about the Burgermaster was, he says, tell the Baron we're bringing his son home. So at this point, Henry's father is still alive.
Okay, we'll get to that.
Yeah.
We'll get to that. So they take the body home. Meanwhile, back at the windmill, Maria's parents are there. And
Okay.
it's...
So Maria's parents, this is a question.
Yes.
Because this
All
is...
of a sudden she has a mom?
Well, this is not the same actor who played her dad in the original. And
Correct. And they showed both of these men in the movie.
that, and his name is different. In the first one, it's Ludwig. In this one, it's Hans.
Oh, I've never would have caught that.
So people have thought, well, maybe these are her grandparents. And I think it makes more sense that it is the grandparents. You don't know.
I mean, I assume it's her parents.
Well, especially because the guy who played Ludwig in the original, he was in like Son of Frankenstein and Ghost of Frankenstein also. He was always in these movies, so why wouldn't he have been in Bride of Frankenstein?
It's a fantastic question.
I don't know. Are they her parents or are they grandparents? Or maybe they're just friends. But they talk about their little Maria.
They do. And Hans wants to see the monster's body. He wants to see his bones.
His blackened bones.
Yep. So he goes into the wreckage and falls into the mill. So this is where you and I had a tiny talk about this mysterious pond that shows up in the wreckage of
A mill pond. Yeah.
the mill. A mill. I'm sorry, you keep saying mill pond like that's a word.
I'm going to look it up for you. It's a pool that is created by a mill dam and provides the head of water that powers a water mill.
And it's called a mill pond?
Yeah.
You learn something new every day.
So basically, the windmill catches fire and collapses, but unbeknownst to the villagers, there was a mill pond, a body of water underneath to the side, sort of, I suppose, of the windmill that the monster fell in, and so did Hans.
So he falls into it and is attacked by the monster, who is also in this mill pond.
Yeah, it's a great shot. His first shot, his arm raises and he appears from around the corner, and he is scarred and burned now. His hair is singed, and looks great.
So as he's drowning him, there's a murderous owl that is watching them, and this might be my favorite. Like, this owl's got some bloodlust / ambivalence in his eyes.
He just looks like he doesn't want to be bothered.
So the monster climbs up, and the wife of Hans is at the top and thinks it's him. So she goes to help him up, and he throws her into the pond.
Yep, after she screams in his face.
Yes. The monster then encounters Minnie, and I put down that she's the worst.
She looks up and sees the monster just staring at her, so she goes into her crazy screaming fit and runs away, and the monster is just in disbelief that someone could be this goofy and crazy. It doesn't do anything. He's frozen in terror and shock and whatever.
I would have the exact same reaction. So back at Henry's home, Henry's body is brought to his fiancée, Elizabeth.
A group of villagers bring him along, and they meet Elizabeth at the front of the castle. And she says, "Please tell me." And then a villager has one of my favorite lines, one of my favorite reads. I just love how breathy he is, how dramatic. He goes,
Oh, my lady, how can we tell you?
"Oh, my lady, how can we tell you?"
You sound like Elvis.
And then they cut to a lady that's crying. Yeah.
So they bring him inside, and here comes Minnie screaming like the banshee that she is down the streets into the house. And she's screaming, "It's alive, it's alive," which I think is kind of a throwback to the first movie.
It's alive! The monster! It's alive! Ooh.
And oh man, Albert. We meet him for the briefest of moments, and he has some really great lines. Mainly, "Shut up, you old fool."
Shut up, you old fool.
Bite your tongue off. We don't believe in ghosts.
Everyone is crying around Henry, and Elizabeth kind of reconciles that he's dead. And as she's walking away, Henry's hand falls, and it scares Minnie.
Yeah, she screams and says, "Look, my lady, he's alive!"
So now our beloved Henry's alive. He's now recouping. I'm not too sure what the time frame is here, but he's now recouping in his room.
Yeah, it's been a few days at least.
Okay. And Elizabeth is telling him that they will go away once he's better. But of course, Henry is back on his BS and is obsessed with creating life. At the beginning, he's just kind of like, okay. And as he's recounting what happened, it seems to stir something up inside of him.
Yeah, like perhaps he was meant to know the secrets of life.
Elizabeth is very much over it and wants him to drop it. And she's kind of just like telling him that she keeps seeing death. Like, this is driving her crazy as well. And she keeps seeing death wanting to take him. And she says that it's going to kill him. What he's doing is going to kill him. And she breaks down pretty much in a hysteric, laughing, crying fit. I'm not too sure.
Yeah.
But they're interrupted by banging at the door. And here's where we meet Dr. Pretorius.
There's no such name.
I think his entrance is pretty great. I love his face. I think this guy's like great.
Tell him that Dr. Pretorius is here on a secret matter of grave importance and must see him alone tonight.
Yeah, Ernest Thesiger plays Dr. Pretorius. He's incredible. He has the perfect villainous face.
He does. He's up to no good.
When Disney did a Hunchback, they had to base Claude Frollo off of him, right?
That would make sense. Yeah.
He has the perfect face, and the way it's shot in this movie, the weird angles, the shadows, is just great.
Yeah. He says that he needs to see Henry, and he needs to see him alone tonight. Minnie is understandably freaked out. She relays the message to Henry, and Henry agrees to see him. And also, one line throwaway, we find out that Henry's dad has died.
Yeah.
He's called the what is he called? The master? The
Baron. Dr. Pretorius says,
Baron Frankenstein now, I believe.
So in this time, however long it's been since they brought him home, his father has died.
Yeah.
Now, I have read that there may have been some deleted scenes about this, about his dad dying, or showing his dad dying.
Because his dad was totally fine.
Yeah.
Wasn't he drinking with maids the last we saw him?
That's right. So something happened to him.
So we find out a little bit of a backstory about Dr. Pretorius.
Well, before he gives the backstory, I like when Dr. Frankenstein, Henry, asks him, what he's doing here. And he says that his business is private. And then he looks at Elizabeth with his nose up in the air. He's such a smug, pompous little gentleman.
We find out that he was a doctor at a university
but was booted out.
He was for knowing too much, which I really like that. And it just sets up that this guy's just an arrogant son of a. So, yeah, he ends up kicking out Elizabeth, and he has a proposition for Henry, and he also takes that extra step to remind Henry that all of these deaths are his fault.
You know, do you not, that it is you, really, who are responsible for all those murders?
Everything that the monster does is because of Henry. Uh-huh. And so it's weird. He's like, I need you to help me with this. And basically, not blackmails him, but is forcing his hand in saying that the only way to, rectify what he's done is to help him, which is kind of convoluted, but,
it's more he wants...
like a second chance?
Pretorius wants to get in on this. And he wants to make the initial idea of bringing a monster to life come to completion, which is, we find out, making a mate and perhaps making a whole race of people.
So he invites Henry over to his house that night.
Yeah, I like when Henry Frankenstein asks if it's far, and Dr. Pretorius says, no, but you'll need a coat.
Is it far?
No, but you will need a coat.
I love when they get there. Dr. Pretorius, again, I'm sorry. He's such a manipulative, amazing character. I love that he's like, let's drink, let's have a drink. He brings out his gin and he says that it's his only weakness, which is very much not.
Do you like gin? It is my only weakness.
But I love that he brings that out and they drink gin. They toast to Pods and Monsters.
To a new world of gods and monsters.
They toast and they drink out of these little beakers, which I really love. He brings out this coffin thing, box.
Yeah, Pretorius leaves the room real quick and he comes back with this little box and also a yarmulke.
A yarmulke?
Yeah, like a yarmulke on his head, a little beanie.
Oh. And he pulls out of it these little containers, kind of like bell jars, but they're kind of open at the top.
Yeah.
He brings them out and he unveils them, and they're full of these tiny people. He has a queen, a king, an archbishop, the devil, a ballerina, and a mermaid. And he goes on to have little stories regarding the progression of how he created all of these tiny people.
Yeah, and did you notice in the wide shot from behind, there's one extra jar?
No.
You could see it at the bottom of the screen. It's a deleted scene, but they still had it in this one shot. Included with these people was a little baby in a high chair.
Oh, gosh.
And the baby was played by Billy Barty, the famous little person actor.
Well, I'm glad they didn't keep that in. I think that would be a little too disturbing that he's made a tiny child.
Yeah. Because
children are already tiny. Then you're going to exploit them even more. They're so vulnerable that you would make them even smaller.
Yeah.
And then keep it segregated in a little jar.
Yeah.
That's upsetting.
So these effects of the little people in the jars are so good. It was done by John P. Fulton, who, did all the Universal movies back then, The Invisible Man and all that. And the effects they're pretty seamless. I really like the mermaid one because you can see the top of the jar where the water ends. So it looks like a real glass of water, but she's in there.
Yeah.
And then you remember at one point the king gets out and then Dr. Pretorius picks him up with some tongs and puts him back in. And the characters all have really high sped up voices because they're so little. Someone once slowed down the voices and you could hear words where it's just like a stagehand just talking in the mic saying something. I'm going to try to slow it down and see if we could hear it for the podcast.
That'd be pretty neat.
All right, he gets picked up by the ears and taken...
So the king does escape because he wants to be with the queen. I love how angry everyone gets. All the little, the archbishop just gets so mad when the king escapes. So Henry likens all of this to black magic.
But this isn't science. It's more like black magic.
Dr. Pretorius reveals that he actually grew these creatures, these tiny people.
Grew them from seeds.
And he says, I grew these and you collected dead bodies. So he's showing them that there's a different way to do this other than pillaging from the dead. And he tells Henry that he needs to make more and that he needs to make a female. He first made a male, so now he needs to make a female, a mate.
Yeah, and what I really like, this is the first mention that we get of the mate, of the bride, and this is when the theme comes in for the first time. But why does Pretorius really need Henry Frankenstein?
Because I think
he can't make them full size?
I think so. I think because he can't make them, because he can't make them full size.
He can't make them full size, but he kind of right there knocks Dr. Frankenstein's procedures of using dead bodies, but he has to.
I mean, later on we see that he's grown this brain.
Yeah.
The major defect of the monster is that he has a criminal brain. So now they're able to grow a brain to their liking.
Yeah.
I think that him growing a full-size person would take too long.
Okay.
Maybe. I don't know.
Just plant a bigger seed.
Because he doesn't really say how long it took him to make these tiny people, right? Henry's absolutely shocked by this proposition of making a mate. And then from there, we cut to our beloved monster.
Yeah, he's roaming the woods. I love this shot. It's a wonderful set of this forest scene with a waterfall, and the music's great here. It almost reminds me of The Wizard of Oz, this really great fantasy world.
Yeah. He sees his reflection as he's drinking water out of this pond waterfall, and it's upsetting to him. At the same time, there's a woman who is tending to all these sheep that have been roaming around this whole time.
Yeah, a shepherdess.
She sees him and it scares her. And this causes her to fall into the water.
Yeah, and when she first sees him and starts screaming, the monster looks up and he has his hands out and he's just going his moans and kind of motioning for her to stop. He's not going to hurt her, and he looks so sad and innocent. And I always used to say that he looked a lot like my grandma's dog Rico at that moment. He has big dark eyes, and I feel so bad for him. I just want to take him home and pet him.
I don't think he'd like that, but okay.
Hey, Frankenstein would be my friend.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see why not. So he goes into the water and pulls her out. When she comes to, or realizes it, of course there's this monster's face that has just scared her into falling into the water, so she starts screaming because it's still scaring her. So he tries to stop her. There are two men that are walking through and they hear it, and one of them has a gun, or both of them have guns. One of them takes a shot at him as the other one is running back to tell the burgermaster that they found the monster.
Yeah.
So the burgermaster and whatever officials rally up the men. So, okay, the burgermaster is rally up the men, lock women indoors. Why? If there's anything we've learned is that locking women inside of places helps no one. And then the villagers, they all take off after the monster.
Yeah,
and they start chasing him. And
you get this really great music, this really adventurous march. Ba, 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 ba.
So they end up going into like a place with like a cliff. I don't know. And
this set is really neat too. This is a different part of the forest, but if you notice, all the trees don't have branches. They're all kind of like telephone poles almost. It's very unique. I like it a lot. And yeah, he ends up at this little cliff with a big rock. He
throws this giant boulder on them, but eventually they're able to capture him. They all just kind of bum rush him and they captured our monster. Yeah. Minnie's over in the corner just talking some smack.
You want any help there? I'll bind him.
Yeah, the villagers tie up the monster to this post and they almost like crucify him. It's very weird. They pick him up and they prop him up and we get this really amazing shot of the monster in one of the more helpless positions that he's been in, physical positions. And you just hear the cheers from the villagers. And then they drop him straight on his face in the back of like a carriage wagon.
Yeah, and it almost looks like I don't know what you call it, like the basket that Jesus was born in the nativity scene. Like, full of hay. And so there's lots of religious symbolism in this movie, starting with that. Or maybe even before that. So yeah, when he's up and he's basically being crucified, you see people throwing things at him and people are yelling and screaming. Also, a little bit before this, when the Burgermaster shows up, he stops and asks where he is and someone points. That's our first shot of Dwight Fry, who we will see later in the movie as well.
So they take him back to the village and they decide that they're going to put him into the dungeon in chains. And here we get a really famous, iconic scene, imagery of the monster, and he's sitting in the chair.
How would they have a chair so big?
That's a fantastic question. Maybe they built it knowing that he would come.
Just in case a monster appears.
Yeah. So they put him in this chair in this chains. They walk out of the room. Minnie talks some more crap. Yeah. And he immediately escapes it.
He's loose! Shoot him!
They should have just kept him crucified. Oh, by the way, as they're parading him through whatever building into the dungeon, Boris Karloff is strapped to this pole.
Right.
And they're carrying him face down. And the whole time I thought, I really hope they don't drop him.
Well, as you'll find out, Boris Karloff does succumb to some injuries in this movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we'll talk about that afterwards.
So he immediately escapes his chair, and the guards try shooting at him. He breaks down the door and kills the guards.
He's loose.
I really like the way that he kills people. It's just he basically swats people to death.
Yeah, like Minnie finds a guy with a gun and says, "Why don't you shoot him?" And he's loading his gun, and Frankenstein just pushes him down to the ground, and that's that.
Yep.
But I love the shot when he starts chasing the villagers, and Minnie's in the back, and he's chasing them. Frankenstein is running. He's a fast guy. He's not the slow, bumbling creature that the stereotype portrays him to be.
That's true. I think it's because maybe he takes really long steps.
Well, the stereotype came from one of the sequels, which is Frankenstein meets the Wolfman.
So he breaks out and kills the guards. Meanwhile, the Burgermaster's outside dispersing the crowd, and he says, again, just a flippant thing about the monster and calls him just an escaped lunatic.
He does not believe it's a monster.
Which I find very interesting that this is the angle that they've gone with the Burgermaster. He just doesn't want to admit that it's a monster.
Go to your homes, just an escaped lunatic. Merely wanted someone to handle it, that's all.
So here comes a monster, and he is chasing the villagers. One of the people that he chases, and I guess presumably kills, which I found very interesting, is a little girl named Frida. Yeah. When I look at this movie as a whole, I don't think he killed this little girl.
You're very smart to pick up on that.
Was it those two guys, the murderers?
What two guys?
That we meet later on. Because they were with the villagers. You said that Dwight Fry was with the villagers.
Well, and then when we talk about deleted scenes, we'll talk about
my gosh, the plot thickens. Anywho.
But, the death of Frida. Apparently, the girl who says, "Oh, look," was Little Maria, the same actress from the first one.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, look!
So we just see Frida's legs,
Yes.
and you see her mom kneel down next to her. There is a photo of that scene, and in the photo, I don't know if it was shot or not, but in the photo, she picks up her body, and you get like this really horrific close-up of the dead girl. It's pretty scary.
Yeah, I think this whole thing is very weird. Then we happen upon a family that is camping. They are gypsies, but I'm not too sure. I believe that's not a term we should be using now. Anywho, so there's this family, and they're camping. The mother is worried about the monster. The father is not worried at all.
I always thought it was funny because the mother is worried, and then the father says, they locked him up in jail and they'll keep him there. But if he knew that, then he knows instantly later he escaped.
Yeah.
But then I guess you could think maybe he was there when they crucified him.
That's true.
And took him to jail.
Yeah, I'd stop saying crucified when they just captured him.
You know what I mean.
The mom, I like how how the dad is like stoking the fire or whatever, and like the monster just comes walking up like just a split second after he's like, no, he got captured.
Yeah, not before the old lady says,
"Where's the pepper and salt? We got no pepper and salt."
The monster is very much freaked out by the fire, understandably so.
There's like chicken or something cooking on the fire.
Yeah, did he go to reach for the food?
He goes to reach for it and burns his hand on it. So basically, he goes to reach for it. The father is fighting him over it. Like, he really wants to save this chicken, And they have this big fight, and the monster knocks him away. So the monster is now free to get his prize, and he reaches for it and burns his hand and runs away.
Yeah. So as he's running away deeper into the forest, he hears a violin from a house. And he comes upon this hermit who is blind and is playing the violin. And he actually gets very happy hearing this music. He walks in on the man's house after the man's gone outside and checked, and then that's how we find out that he's blind. He also says it like 2 seconds later.
You must please excuse me, but I'm blind.
And this hermit welcomes him in. He thinks that the monster is mute and just goes about talking to him and figures out that the monster can actually understand him, which in the first movie, it's not that we don't know that he understands. We just presume that he has very limited intelligence.
Right.
And in this movie, his intelligence is much more than it was in the first movie, and it starts to evolve and grow throughout the movie.
Right. We don't know how much time has passed.
Yeah.
I do like when he's at the door, he has his hands out, his begging hands, and you see how burned and scarred he is, and then when the blind man touches him, how it hurts him. I like that.
Okay. So he feeds him and puts him to bed, basically. And this is a very intense scene. The man thinks that he's been sent by God to comfort him and be his friend, and he prays over the monster. And it's a very intimate and intense scene for two grown people who have just met each other. And it's a little cheesy, but also not so much. The monster is crying as this man is praying over him.
Yeah,
someone loves them.
Yeah, it's just nice. They both are lonely now. They have friends have been brought together. I like how concerned the monster looks when the blind man is going to get some soup for him, and he puts his hand into the fire, basically. He's concerned for him. Then he's like, now you must go to sleep. But how does he know the monster's tired?
I know. I just like that he just puts him to bed and the monster's like, okay.
And
I guess
then
this is what we'll do now.
This scene has some more religious symbolism, not only with the blind man praying to God and thanking him for bringing a friend, but as the scene fades out, the cross in the background lights up and stays on screen for just a couple frames longer.
I'm sorry, did you say religious symbolism?
Yeah.
Would it be more like religious imagery?
Imagery?
Yeah.
Imagery.
Imagery. So the next day, the hermit is teaching the monster how to speak.
Well, I don't think it's the next day because he already knows how to talk by this point and has some words down. So they've been practicing for a while now.
I guess
So now this is another time period where we don't know how much time has passed.
Well, enough for them to build a pretty good bond.
Yeah, I'd say about a week maybe.
So he's teaching them how to speak and how to smoke.
Smoke? You try.
Smoke. Good, good.
I like that you get a little bit of a comedic relief here where the monster does smoke and you can see that it makes him a little physically ill because he has like a moment of regret. The hermit is teaching him the difference between good and bad. And he pretty much says that he just really likes the old man playing the violin for him. And he gives him the violin.
By the way, the scene of him smoking, I remember when I was a kid, we used to play that in reverse and see him suck all the smoke in.
So there are two lost men that appear at the house, and they recognize the monster.
Yeah, and one of the hunters here is our friend, John Carradine.
Oh.
Who goes on to play Dracula in House of Frankenstein and House of Dracula.
Papa Carradine?
Yep.
And
he has one of my favorite lines where he says,
"This is the fiend that's been murdering half the countryside. Good heavens, man, can't you see?"
That the other guy says, "He's blind." Then we get that classic pose of looking off in the distance of a blind man.
That's true. These men have no internal dialogue, which only benefits the blind man. Right? Because, yeah, he says that that's the fiend that's been killing people, and I feel like the blind man he doesn't like turn on the monster at any point, but he doesn't help him. Mainly because he can't, but
I don't think he turns on him at all. I think it's just that he can't. But the other guy, after they say this is the fiend that's been murdering half the countryside, good heavens, man, can't you see? The other villager says, Frankenstein made him out of dead bodies. And you get a close-up of the monster with a shocked reaction. This is the monster learning exactly what he is at that time.
Yes. So good. It's so good. They tell the old man that he's made out of dead bodies. The two men fight the monster, which is really funny because he just throws them around the room. And then they somewhat accidentally really burn down this house. Like, this house almost explodes in flames. So they take off with the old man. The monster takes off running out of the house.
Well, the blind man says, "Why do you do this, my friend?" And then you see the monster with his arms out saying, "Friend," like looking for him. And
yeah.
It's sad. You'd think after spending a few days with this blind man, he would know his name, though, instead of just friend.
As he's running through the countryside, he comes upon some children and scares the bejesus out of them. And then he goes to a cemetery, and he's running amok at the cemetery. And yeah, this is right after he finds out that he's made out of dead bodies, so he fully understands what that means. And he goes to the cemetery.
If you notice, there's a giant tomb or statue of Jesus on the cross. There was, I don't know if it was filmed or just planned, but there was going to be a part where the monster would go up to him thinking he was real and asking, saying friend and like trying to get help from Jesus. But it was cut, obviously, because that's a little bit too heavy-handed in terms of religious imagery.
Yeah.
But the statue's still in the background.
Okay.
And in the foreground, we also see that death statue still from the original movie.
Yes. He breaks into a crypt and he finds a body in there in a little coffin. And he talks to that dead body and says, "Friend."
Friend.
He hears a rustling at the other end of this crypt area. And here shows up Dr. Pretorius, and he shows up with two, what I called at the time, grave robbers. But eventually you find out, they are grave robbers, but they are also murderers.
Yeah. They're ghouls.
Yes. From here, they take specifically a body of a 19-year-old woman.
Yeah, she died in 1899, so you kind of get an idea of the time frame we're in, because it's not Mary Shelley's time frame.
No.
We're in the future from her.
That's okay, though. People write things in the future all the time. The monster's hiding, and I love that while they're taking this body, Dr. Pretorius, I think, says that he hopes that the bones are firm.
I hope her bones are firm.
So creepy. He tells the men to leave, and he stays for a smoke and a drink and bonding with these bones, basically.
I rather like it here.
He does, and he's having just the greatest time making himself a little bit of tea and just sitting there.
I think he's drinking gin, no?
He is.
His only weakness.
Yes, I love it. However, the monster shows up, and he instantly knows who he is. Pretorius knows who the monster is, and he invites him for a smoke. That's his only weakness.
Have a cigar. They're my only weakness.
Well, the monster, when he appears, the first thing he says to him is smoke. And, and Pretorius says, have a cigar. They are my only weakness. But then the monster never gets the cigar.
No. Pretorius is... It's on brand for Pretorius.
But, I mean, no, it could have been the monster's fault because he just jumped right towards that chicken and starts eating it, bones and all. And it looks so good. I want to eat some of that chicken.
It is not.
For some reason, like in Three Stooges shorts, they always eat like chicken bones and like crab shells. Because it's...
Please don't do that.
What?
In real life.
No, I'm not going to do it, but it always looks so good in those things.
No, it'll rip up your insides. You're going to choke on some chicken bone. So the two men bond, and the monster asks if he is making a man, which I find very interesting that this is what, like he knows, he remembers, he knows, he's put it together. He's out of dead bodies. He sees that this man...
Well, he also heard the conversation he had with the ghouls.
Yes. Dr. Pretorius tells him that he's making him a woman and asks if he knows who Dr. Frankenstein is.
Yes, I know. Made me from dead. I love dead. Hate living.
Dr. Pretorius from here realizes that he can use the monster as leverage and very much tells the monster that he's exactly what he needs to get what he needs from Henry. So now we're back with Elizabeth and Henry, and they're married. They get a visit from Dr. Pretorius as they're leaving the castle or wherever it is that they live. Mansion, estate. Dr. Pretorius reveals that he has grown a brain and needs Henry to bring it to life. Henry doesn't want to, and so, of course, here comes the monster, which is what is Dr. Pretorius's card, is using this monster to get Henry to just push Henry past that line that he's straddling, basically.
Yeah, and the music cue of the monster appearing is so great. It's the great classic 5-note theme. Bum, 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 bum.
It's so good.
But like a very foreboding version of it.
No, not that. Oh, he's quite harmless.
And then the first thing the monster says to Dr. Frankenstein is,
sit down.
And puts his arms down. That is referencing the first time Dr. Frankenstein told him to sit down in their first meeting after he came to life.
Mm-hmm.
Sit down. Sit down.
I remember.
And I always thought to myself, am I putting 2 and 2 together, or did the writers really think of that as being, as the monster remembering that conversation? And
I'm sure that he
did. It was in the script that it references the first movie.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Henry is very shocked to see that the monster can talk and how advanced he is. They have a conversation, and the monster says, must do it.
He's answering questions to Dr. Frankenstein. Dr. Frankenstein says, what do you want? He says, you know. He's like, no, I won't. Yes, must do it.
Yes. And I love that it's like, it almost reminds me of when Kevin decides to not use a lot of words in the office and he can still get his point across.
Yep.
Very much a Frankenstein moment.
That's
because
right.
he doesn't need a lot of words and he gets his point across. Dr. Frankenstein, Henry won't discuss it. The monster ends up leaving.
And Pretorius says,
no.
So I love how the monster leaves, and as he leaves, he's gives them the stink eye.
Yeah, well, that's what he says. You must do it.
Yeah.
And he says, nothing will ever make me do it. And he goes, and gives them the stink eye.
He angrily leaves, and as he's leaving, he sees Elizabeth in her room. And again, who else is back on his BS? This monster. And he walks in and attacks Elizabeth. But obviously we'll find out.
He kidnaps her.
Well, I mean, that's still an attack.
Well, yeah.
It's not like he walked in and was like, let's go. And she's like, okay. He forcibly removes her from there, which again, we find out later on is very much what Dr. Pretorius was counting on. If not, he told the monster to do it.
Right. No, he did tell the monster to do it. That's why he said now.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because when the monster's leaving, he looks at him and says, now. Like, now's your opportunity to go get Elizabeth.
I thought he was telling him to leave now.
Oh, no.
Oh, okay. So, again, Minnie is the worst.
Well, she sees Elizabeth getting kidnapped, and she yells and screams and runs away. And
yes.
And Dr. Frankenstein finds her and says, "What is it?" And she says that she's been taken. And
so this is all set up by Dr. Pretorius, and he says that they'll return Elizabeth if Henry helps and does what the monster wants. Now he's blaming it kind of on the monster, but this is still all Dr. Pretorius is doing.
Yeah, and it's funny in this scene as he's walking over towards them, he's speaking, but his lips aren't moving.
Oh. The monster takes Elizabeth
to a cave. And there's a flying bat as they enter.
Yeah, I put cute bat. So Henry tries to find her, but he gives up pretty easily. I don't know how long he's been looking for her. And gives in to Dr. Pretorius's demands. So they go back to the lab, the scene of the crime from the first movie.
That's right.
I do think, though, the lab has changed a little bit since then.
Yeah, it does look a little different.
Yeah.
Especially the machinery.
Yes. The house looks very different.
Oh, yeah, the house is way different.
It's not even the same.
Much more grand and huge.
Mm-hmm. I don't like that. The other one made more sense. So they walk into the lab or into the tower.
Was it late one night?
That houses the lab. And as they're walking up, Dr. Pretorius is acting like he has been invited to his friend's home and is just over for some fun times. And he says that the steps are slimy and he calls them charming. He just has such a air about him and it's just finds everything so amusing.
Yeah, Dr. Frankenstein is sort of apologizing for the way things are kept, but he'd expect them to be slimy after all this time, and Dr. Pretorius just rather finds it charming.
So the men they have this beating heart in a jar, and they're trying to keep it going, but it dies. So we know that they're having a problem keeping dead things alive or bringing them back.
Right.
So they've hit a wall. I put down Dwight Fry because here I realized that one of the murderers was Dwight Fry.
Yeah.
His makeup is not insane, but for some reason my facial recognition just didn't. It was good enough to where I was like, he looks familiar. And then I guess in this he has way more lines, and I think he gets back in a little slightly more back into his mannerisms from the first movie, just voice wise, and something about it was like, oh my gosh, oh hello, and kind of he sounded a little bit like Renfield, and I don't know, he just sounded like himself, what I'm used to.
Well, we haven't heard too much of him before this.
Yeah, because he did have a few lines earlier when he was talking about this was no life for murderers.
Right.
But here we get more of his dialogue, and that's when I realized it was Dwight Fry. Yeah. And I like that whatever situation's happening with his eyebrows, where they made giant eyebrows, and I think they might be uneven, like one is higher than the other, so he always has like a malicious look on his face.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yes, it's a neat makeup, but the heart that Dr. Frankenstein was working with, he realizes is not fresh enough. He needs something better.
So Dr. Pretorius sends Carl to the accident hospital, which is weird. And
Dr. Frankenstein says, this is one of my favorite lines from Dr. Pretorius, but it leads with Dr. Frankenstein saying there are always accidental deaths occurring. And then Pretorius says, always. So he sends Carl, Dwight Fry, to the accident hospital, which really, he just kills a woman on the street. Yeah, and I like when he's leaving the laboratory, he's walking down the stairs, mumbling to himself, very much in the same way he did as Fritz, walking down those same steps. So good. They lied to Henry about where and how they procured this
body, saying that they know someone there. And
well, he's when he comes back, he's trying to get the heart to work, to stay alive. And Dwight Frye chimes in and says,
"It was a very fresh one."
and Dr. Frankenstein, that alarms him.
Yeah.
So he asks where he got it. And then Dr. Pretorius kind of mouths to help Carl say it was a police case.
The accident hospital. What other kind of... whatever. Now they're able to get this heart and keep it beating. And I really loved, they did this earlier with the other one, but this one, they're having all this dialogue over the beating of the heart.
Uh-huh.
And at one point you kind of forget, because it just sounds like like a drum. It's just a drum.
Well, it's in the music score.
Yes.
Yeah.
So it's so great. This is like exhausting Henry to do this. And I love that the monster comes in and commands him to continue going and continue working.
Work, finish, then sleep.
It's just kind of a little overbearing. So Dr. Pretorius decides to try to lure him away with a drink, and he's just basically drugged the monster with some gin. Put some drugs in the gin. And so the monster passes out. Henry...
That'll settle him for a little while.
He thinks that Elizabeth is dead. So Dr. Pretorius has like this phone, essentially.
This electrical machine or a telephone.
It's a telephone. And he tells him that he can talk to her. So he talks to Elizabeth. Elizabeth tries to tell him where she is. From just knowing how long Carl's been gone, because Carl does leave again, she's in the same building. She's not far away. But she tries to tell him that, but of course they stop her from saying that. So the heart now has a steady beat and it's ready for the prepared body. And also they mention that the brain is perfect. So of course, just in the nick of time, this gnarly storm starts coming in. And I say that there's lots of weather and the lab looks really cool. On the roof of the lab is Carl and Ludwig. Mm-hmm. And they are helping prepare stuff for it. So there are like kites, and when things come up, they just kind of like, they're the Fritz of this situation.
Yeah. And when they're doing the experiments, as they're trying to bring the bride to life, Dr. Frankenstein and Dr. Pretorius have these really horrific, great close-ups, like really scary. It's really good.
Yeah. The monster wakes up and goes to the roof of the lab. Carl tries to get him to go away because he doesn't want him to ruin anything. And I really love this because they get into a little bit of altercation, and then the monster just throws him off the roof.
Yeah. He's always killing Dwight Frye.
Yep.
But why does he really kill him, though? Like, the monster is demanding that a mate be made for him, and this guy's trying to help him out.
Yeah.
So why is he killing him? I mean, I guess you could say that maybe he felt Carl came after him with that torch and he was scared of the fire.
Yeah.
But I don't know.
Could be. In the meantime, this body that they've prepared has gone up and has now come back down. And there's just some beautiful music. The hand moves a little bit and there's light moaning. And then they pull off some bandages from her face.
She's alive! Alive!
Just on her eyes.
And she's got some beautiful eyelashes and the music.
And we posted a picture on our site of them filming that scene.
Yeah.
During the filming of that scene, James Whale was the one that actually pulled the bandages off her eyes.
Oh, nice. She has some amazing makeup. Then we get this really great, amazing reveal where the men are holding on to her gown or whatever, and they're dropping the sides of it. She is standing there in all white. She still has some of her bandages on. And before, when her face was bandaged up and her head, these men put this giant wig on this woman. And I think that is so amusing, and I love it so much.
No, I don't think they put a wig on her.
Are you trying to tell me that once they took the bandages off, it just stood up straight like that?
Yeah, because of the electricity.
Okay. So Dr. Pretorius calls her the Bride of Frankenstein, and she is instantly drawn to Henry and just kind of starts walking towards him.
Yeah, and after her big announcement of the Bride of Frankenstein, you hear wedding bells in the score.
Yes, we do.
Mm-hmm.
The Bride of Frankenstein.
But yeah, she is drawn towards Henry Frankenstein and follows his every move.
So she walks to him and almost falls, but yeah, she's drawn to him. The monster walks down from the roof and he says friend to her as soon as he sees her. I love it so much. She screams at him, like just screams. And runs away. Henry sits her down, kind of catching her fall and sitting her down, and the monster sits down next to her and holds her hand. Again, she screams at him. She just wails in his face. He says she hate me like others.
She hate me like others.
Which your heart kind of breaks for him.
Yeah.
But she really hates him. At no point does the bride love Frankenstein monster.
No.
And I find that very interesting because pop culture.
Yeah. There's lots of people that are into the monsters that don't necessarily watch the movie, but just appreciate the way that they look and, collecting them and stuff.
Yeah, nothing wrong with that.
But the bride and the monster were never an item.
It's just very funny to see how this is morphed because now we know the monster as Frankenstein. Right? So anytime we say Frankenstein, everyone instantly thinks of the monster. And she's called the Bride of Frankenstein. Mm-hmm. So instantly everyone's like, oh, well, they're together. And it's like, no, she absolutely hates him.
Well, on that note, it's also, they've never made the point that the Bride of Frankenstein, we're talking about her. This could be Elizabeth we're talking about, the Bride of Frankenstein.
Dr. Pretorius literally just called her the Bride of Frankenstein.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Have you ever seen this movie?
Only 100,000 times.
So, Dr. Pretorius corners the monster in the worst way possible next to this giant lever.
Not the lever. Why would they build a lever in there that would blow it up?
It's just so funny. I'm like, oh, this is convenient. As everyone's freaking out that he's by this giant lever, Elizabeth arrives, and the monster sees her and looks at Henry and tells Henry to go, to take Elizabeth and just leave. And then he looks at Pretorius, I believe, and says, you stay.
You stay. We belong dead.
And then he pulls the lever.
And it all blows to atoms.
Yep. He pulls the lever to kill him, the bride, and Dr. Pretorius. We get this amazing hiss from the bride. She's just pissed. And he destroys the lab. He destroys everything. And it just goes up so well.
Yeah, it's such a great explosion. That model that they blew up, you could see every brick popping out, every brick crumbling. How was this model built? Just like a Lego model, I guess, or something.
I guess so. I mean, what they could have done was they built one, didn't made all the little pieces, made some bigger pieces, and then just set it all together. And once you blow it up, those little pieces go flying everywhere.
Yeah.
Right?
It was such a good crumbling effect.
It really is. So Henry and Elizabeth are safe off in the distance. And the movie ends.
Yeah, they hold each other and he says, darling, darling.
Yes, and the movie ends. So here, if they had just brought it back to Mary Shelley telling the guys the story, I mean, I'm surprisingly, I'm totally fine with this ending. Because I think I'm already used to everything just abruptly ending anyway.
Yeah. This wasn't so abrupt, though.
It wasn't so abrupt. I just didn't need more. I didn't need a biplane just flying away and then it,
Yeah.
So, but I think that because it was such a good device that they used at the beginning with the story, I would like to have seen Lord Byron and Percy's reaction to her story, and just that she's sitting there with a satisfied, smug look on her face, just being like, and that's my story. So I would have loved that.
And then they're walking away and she turns back and looks at the camera and she has streaks on the side of her.
She does. And then it's just Vincent Price's laugh.
Yeah.
So I will say I agree with a good cast is worth repeating here.
Because it was a great cast.
It's such a great cast. And so we get to see everyone, and the bride is still in question marks, which I did think was kind of bold, but it's great either way.
Yeah.
And so That's The Bride of Frankenstein.
My favorite movie of all time. It's amazing how popular The Bride got to be. She was on screen for less than 3 minutes, I believe.
She's stunningly beautiful. She is... so many... You get so much out of her, and she doesn't utter a single word. She just screams.
She doesn't kill anyone. The only monster not to kill anyone.
Yeah.
She never came back for a sequel.
She looks rad. Not only is she, like, beautiful to look at just in general, she looks amazing. That, like, character design is so simple, but gets the point across completely, where she has the stitches, she has the shocked hair with the white streaks going through it, she still has the bandages, she has this gown that also still looks like a hospital gown, but it's still so, like, regal and flowy, and I don't know, she's like the queen of monsters.
Yeah, and it's funny because Elsa Lanchester never looked better than she does as the Bride of Frankenstein. She looks so good.
It's a great design. I love her so much.
So, you know, I've always been into the monsters. Grew up watching them, always loved them. Bride of Frankenstein really became the top movie for me when I saw it in the theater when I was 10 years old at the Alex Theater in Glendale.
Oh, wow.
I saw it in the theater and I'd seen it a bunch of times before that, but I was just blown away by the music, by everything.
It's great.
It's so good. And it's stayed my favorite ever since then.
Yeah, it's a really great movie.
Why don't we talk about how it was made?
Yes.
So, The Bride of Frankenstein, it does have a lot of things that were in the original book, Frankenstein. Because obviously when you adapt a book to a movie, you can't put everything in the movie. There's going to be stuff left over. So they took a lot of that and put it into Bride of Frankenstein. For instance, in the book, we have the monster trying to save a drowning girl.
Okay.
We have the blind man. We have him learning to speak, and he does speak in the book.
Okay. And he says, "It's okay if you call me Frankenstein."
That's right.
As he sails off.
And he demands a mate in the book.
Oh, okay.
Frankenstein in 1931, was a huge success. Dracula started the universal monster phenomenon, but Frankenstein took it to a new level. What's that?
Phenomena.
Oh.
Well, it's phenomena, but still.
Because of Frankenstein, it made Boris Karloff and James Whale stars. Boris Karloff became huge and was in a bunch of horror films beyond that point. In fact, James Whale was even a little jealous of Boris Karloff that he got most of the fame. Because, James Whale was a bit of a ham, A great director, and rightfully so, but a ham. In fact, he was such a ham, they ought to stuff him with cloves.
You think that hams are stuffed with cloves?
Yeah.
I guess they are. I don't like cooked ham.
Do you remember who Robert Florey was?
No.
In the Frankenstein episode, I had talked about him. He was the person that was initially supposed to direct Frankenstein.
Okay.
And then James Whale took over.
This sounds familiar.
He wrote a 7-page treatment for a sequel to Frankenstein called The New Adventures of Frankenstein, The Monster Lives. And that was going to be the sequel. Universal didn't go for it.
Yeah, it sounds like a Huckleberry Finn type of thing. Like, it's Henry and the monster on a raft going down a river.
But then Universal knew they did want to do a sequel, and in 1933, they announced a sequel. And it was called something else. It was called The Return of Frankenstein.
Okay.
Not bad.
No.
Universal wanted James Whale to direct, since he directed the first one, and he said no, he didn't want to do it.
What?
Yeah,
what changed his mind?
I'm not sure exactly what changed his mind, but I think they promised him creative control. He could do whatever he wanted, so took it up. And basically, he turned it into a dark comedy. So in 1933, when they made the announcement, they even had talks of having Bela Lugosi star in it, well, there probably wasn't a Dr. Pretorius at this point, but it probably would have been a role like that.
Okay.
They brought in some writers to write the screenplay along with James Whale eventually, who ended up taking the job. The writers were William Hurlbut and John L. Balderston. And Balderston, he wrote Frankenstein, Dracula, and The Mummy.
Oh.
So he's back. So they gave the green light to make Bride of Frankenstein. And the initial budget was $293,750.
It's very specific.
And that is only $30,000 more than the original movie.
Oh, wow. You would have thought that they would have reused some of the sets if that was the case.
I'm not going to say he stayed within that budget.
Gotcha.
That's what they wanted him to do.
Okay.
So they got James Whale to direct. He's back. And he was such a popular director of that time. He was starting to have a little bit of a falling out with people, I think because he was a gay filmmaker and people were figuring this out, that he had a gay lifestyle and that wasn't,
Yeah, he didn't live closeted.
Correct.
And so at the time, this was very shocking for people.
Correct. But at this time, he still was an A-list director.
Okay.
But I think by the next year, 1936, I think he did Showboat, and that was pretty much his last big movie, I think.
I didn't know he did Showboat.
Yeah, but he had a hand on every single aspect of his movie, whatever movie he made. On his script, he would, on the back of the pages, he would have sketches for costume designers and art directors for ideas. And he used to be an art director before he was a director. And I think he came up with lots of the looks that you see at Bride of Frankenstein, like those telephone pole trees in the forest, things like that. But costume design was another one he was heavily involved with. In fact, he was so involved with the authenticity of these things that he told Valerie Hobson, who plays Elizabeth, that she is not allowed to wear any underwear under her nightgown. She wanted to because she's on a set with a bunch of people, but he didn't want that. So, the movie stars Boris Karloff.
Yep.
He earned $2,500 a week for 5 weeks making this movie.
Okay.
So Boris began filming Bride of Frankenstein. And this is what Boris had to say about filming his first scene, which was in the mill pond underneath the windmill. The watery opening scene of the sequel, The Bride of Frankenstein, was filmed with me wearing a rubber suit under my costume to ward off chill. But air got in the suit. When I was launched into the pond, my legs flew up in the air and I floated there like some obscene water lily, while I and everyone else hooted with laughter. They finally fished me out with a boat hook and deflated me. So that was Boris's start of Bride of Frankenstein, which I consider to be his best role. I mentioned that he may have a mishap or an accident on this movie.
Okay.
And he did. Filming that first scene, he actually dislocated his hip. He fell down while in the water there.
Oh, really?
They were worried they were going to have to halt production, but his hip was strapped and he returned to work. And
oh my gosh.
I'm sure he was in pain. I want to go over Boris's schedule. Playing the monster in the first movie was a task in itself, and I think even harder for this movie and Bride.
Why?
For different reasons. The costume was heavier. It was 48 pounds in the original. Now it's 62.
Why would it be so much? Why would...
Well, I'm not positive, but he does look bulkier in this one. Maybe because a lot of the time he's wet. I don't know. Yeah, I'm not sure why exactly it's heavier, but it apparently was.
Okay.
In fact, he lost 20 pounds playing this role.
Sweat it all out.
Yep. But Boris's daily routine in this movie was quite hectic. This was Boris Karloff's day, every day for 5 weeks.
Lay it on me.
And he's 47 years old, don't forget. So his day starts at 4:30 a.m. He gets woken up by his butler. He takes a cold shower, and then he has infrared treatment for his injured hip. At 5:10 a.m., he has some toast and black coffee for breakfast. At 5:20 a.m., he began the 15-mile drive through Coldwater Canyon to Universal Studios. At 6 a.m., he gets massaged and soothed and oiled up on his face to prepare for the makeup application. At 7 a.m., Jack Pierce, who did the makeup for the movie, comes in and he starts applying the face and body makeup. As you know, the makeup is different in this movie because we see the effects of the previous movie, The Fire. So it's all singed. So the makeup actually took longer for this movie than it did the original.
Oh, wow.
So that's at 7:30 a.m. He gets makeup put on all the way until 12:30 p.m. That's 5.5 hours of getting makeup on. So at 12:30, no, I guess it was about 5 hours because he gets a little break around noon, I think.
Okay.
At 12:30, he gets the padding and the costume and the shoes put on. At 1:30, he finally gets lunchtime, tea and a sandwich. At 2 o'clock, he finally gets to start filming. At 4 p.m., there's a tea break. British people need their tea breaks.
By the way, all of the behind-the-scenes photos of anyone on a tea break. Some sort of break where they have little teacups and they're just lounging are my favorite.
I think they really play that up on this movie to make it seem very English, that they really play that up, because I think it was Valerie Hobson, who played Elizabeth, that said that they weren't really having tea that much, but they made it seem like it. But at 4 p.m., Boris has his tea. Sometimes he would take off his padded costume and just be in the head in a robe.
Okay.
During that time.
Photo. Uh-huh.
And then he would go back to shooting after his tea break. And then at 7 o'clock, the shooting day would end. Karloff with 2 makeup men would remove the makeup using oils and acids. At 8 p.m., he would take a cold shower, have a light supper, and of course tea. And then he drove home. At 8:30, he would get a massage and another treatment for his hip with infrared. And at 9:30, he would get into bed and study his lines for the next day. That was Boris's day. Not that much time to act.
No.
They had to organize all that pretty well.
So I assume while he's still getting ready, they're probably shooting other stuff.
Oh, yeah, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So the monster's makeup, as I said before, it shows the ramifications of being burned up in the windmill.
Mm-hmm.
His bangs are gone. He has scars on his cheek, on his forehead. His clothes are all tattered up. But did you notice how his makeup changes throughout the movie?
No.
By the end of the movie, he has more hair than at the start of the movie, and his scars are healing a little bit. You see the healing process and hair growing back. It's very interesting.
Huh.
Also, Boris, being in this costume and playing this part is just exhausting. And it's hard for Boris to sit down with 62 extra pounds of weight. So they built a special monster chair for him. And this was basically a giant piece of wood with armrests. And he would be leaning back at like a 45-degree angle so he could kind of relax. One thing that's interesting about Boris in this movie, even though, again, I think this is his best performance he's ever done, he hated the idea of the monster speaking.
Why?
He really fought against James Whale on that note, that the monster shouldn't speak. He thought that so much emotion was done through pantomime in the first movie that he could do the same thing here. And the speech kind of took away the childlike innocence of the character somewhat.
Huh. I don't know. I wasn't bothered by it.
Yeah, well, I wasn't either. I think they made the right choice to have him talk. So after Boris, Colin Clive is also back. Mm-hmm. He played Dr. Frankenstein. I told you earlier, in the first movie, he really wanted his character to die. He thought that was a really good thing because movies didn't really do that back then. And in the original script, he did die. Mm-hmm. But then they tacked on the happy ending. So with that, they brought him back. And executives were kind of weary about him coming back because he had really bad alcoholism.
Oh.
But James Whale wanted him because no one could do crazy like Colin Clive.
Uh-huh.
And Colin Clive was very happy to be back because in the script, he died.
And then dun dun dun, he doesn't.
Yeah. Colin Clive himself had an accident during the filming of Bride of Frankenstein. I read that he fell on the set, but I've also read that it was a horse riding accident. During the filming of the movie, he tore the ligaments in his knees. And that's why there's so many scenes of him sitting down in the movie because he could only get around with crutches for a while.
Gotcha.
Valerie Hobson plays Elizabeth, who took the role over from Mae Clarke, who played it in the original film. She didn't come back, I think, because she was ill.
Oh.
Valerie Hobson, we also know from Werewolf of London. Mm-hmm. She was 17 at the time of making this, just like in Werewolf of London, but they both came out the same year. And Hobson's first scene was with Colin Clive in the bed, and they weren't introduced to each other. She was just told to jump in the bed in her frilly negligee and got in there, and they said, oh, by the way, this is Colin Clive. And that was James Whale's little idea of fun for her. Ernest Thesiger plays Dr. Pretorius. He and James Whale were great friends, which you can kind of see James Whale, his humor really come out of Dr. Pretorius in this movie. Do you know who was the first choice for Dr. Pretorius?
No.
Claude Rains.
Oh, no. I mean, the voice would have been great. But no, I mean, what's this gentleman's name?
Ernest Thesiger.
He's perfect.
He is perfect. And he was also in another James Whale film called The Old Dark House.
Okay.
Where he says the line,
have a potato.
Una O'Connor is here as Minnie. She has a larger role than she does in The Invisible Man, and James Whale was a huge Una O'Connor fan and tried to get her in as much as possible.
That's unfortunate.
I love Una O'Connor.
I know you do.
But she's in it a little bit too much. But I still love her.
I don't mind some of the humor that she brings, but I think she's a little exaggerated. Like, so when we were watching The Invisible Man, she's in that, and her screaming and wailing, though it is horrible, it is more appropriate than the one that she's doing here. Yeah. Like, her first encounter with the monster, when she's just, like, moving her head around and screaming like a dumbass. Like, I wouldn't have minded if she screamed and had a moment and still kept her dialogue. She just didn't need that extra 10 beats of her screaming, winding her head around and then taking off. I think it's real dumb. She's so over the top where, like, the Burgermaster has some funny lines. He's dismissive. He's kind of just a carefree, whatever. You have Albert, who has like 2 lines, 3 lines. All of his lines are funny, but they're not delivered like clowns. Yeah. Cut it out.
I guess they could have toned her down a little bit.
Yeah, just tone her, take a step back.
Next, we have Dwight Fry, who is back. He was in the original Frankenstein as Fritz. So he actually played a role that was 2 roles in one. In the original script, there was a character that was sort of a village idiot and one that played a ghoul, a grave robber. And they sort of combined both parts into one. Unfortunately, the whole village idiot aspect of it was filmed but cut from the movie. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Next, we have Elsa Lanchester. She played Mary Shelley, and she's the question mark. She's the bride. In a marketing ploy, before the movie was made, or while they were making it, Universal leaked names of possible choices of people to play the bride. For instance, Brigitte Helm, who played the robot in Metropolis. She was one of the names they said, and a bunch of other people. But Elsa was always James Whale's #1 choice. So that was just a bit of publicity for you. So she got the part, and Elsa Lanchester says of her playing the Bride of Frankenstein, she said, "I do have an odd face, and James was absolutely dead set that my face was the face for the Bride of Frankenstein." So James Whale had Elsa Lanchester play the part of not only the Bride of Frankenstein, but Mary Shelley herself. And this is what Elsa Lanchester had to say about James Whale's idea of her playing both parts.
Okay.
James's feeling was that very pretty, sweet people, both men and women, had very wicked insides, evil thoughts. These thoughts could be of dragons, they could be of monsters, they could be of Frankenstein's laboratory. So James wanted the same actress for both parts to show that the Bride of Frankenstein did, after all, come out of sweet Mary Shelley's soul. So it's kind of showing the good and the bad in one person.
I guess so. But is the bride bad? She's not bad.
No, but she's a monster.
Yeah.
A little bit of an interesting fact about Elsa Lanchester. She is married to another classic monster in real life. Do you remember?
No.
She was married to Charles Laughton, who played the Hunchback of Notre Dame. Is
that why they were together at Disneyland?
Yeah, because they were married. There's a photo of them together at Disneyland.
Yeah, I was like, what are the odds these people are together?
And Charles Laughton knew James Whale, too, because he was also in The Old Dark House.
Oh.
So for the bride's look, apparently James Whale and Ernest Thesiger brainstormed ideas on how the bride should look. A lot of it was James Whale's idea, and then they brought it to Jack Pierce, who brought it to life. There's always been questions if the bride's look was inspired by Nefertiti.
Okay.
What do you think?
Oh, with like the high hair situation to mimic the head dressing? Yeah. I don't know what you'd call it. Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
Yeah, I could see it too. Jack Pierce did the makeup, the brilliant makeup man who created all the monsters. Now, it took 5 hours for him to do Boris's makeup as the monster. How long do you think it took him to do the bride's makeup?
2.
3 hours.
That was close.
And Elsa Lanchester really did not like him because he was very demanding of his actors, where everything was very professional. Everything had to be in place. You would come in and he wouldn't say good morning. You would just sit down and go to work. You know, he's very strict with everything has to be his way. And he was very meticulous. And she was very annoyed that the scar that's underneath her chin that she felt like he could have just done that with a pencil in 2 minutes. Like, he spent an hour doing that scar. And she was very annoyed by this. To do her hair, it was her real hair. It wasn't a wig.
What?
It was her real hair. Basically, they put a little cage on her head and wove her hair into the cage to make it stand up. And she had red hair. So the bride actually has red hair. It's not black. And then they put gray streak hair pieces on the side.
Okay.
Elsa Lanchester, she does that famous hiss right before the explosion.
Yes.
She has said that was actually inspired by swans at a park.
I let out a noise when I saw Boris Karloff. I let out a noise like a swan. If any of you have ever seen an angry swan in the park, I don't know.
They're beautiful, but like all sorts of waterfowl are just terrifying.
I got chased by a goose once.
I'm telling you, I stand by it. Waterfowl are terrifying.
Franz Waxman did the music, an incredible score, maybe my favorite score of all time. I love how each character has their own theme, really. Well, pretty much the monster and the bride, really. Each piece of music is so unique. It's so good. So let's talk a little bit about things that were cut. So the movie had some test screenings, and then after that, they decided to cut some things out. In fact, over 15 minutes of things were cut from the movie.
Oh, wow. That's a lot of footage.
Yeah. Apparently, the prologue was longer at the beginning. Una O'Connor actually had some lines playing that maid with the dogs. And there were more lines throughout the prologue. In fact, there were lines about how the sanctity of marriage doesn't really mean much to these three, kind of giving the hint that they're all kind of in a relationship.
They're a threesome?
Basically. And it was cut for monogamy issues. And then I think there was a scene of Baron Frankenstein dying, or them talking about him dying.
You know, I feel like that would have been really crucial instead of a throwaway line that your dad is dead. You must be the Baron now.
Yeah. I don't know if they filmed anything, though. I can't remember. They did film a morgue scene, though, where they find a dead body and people at the morgue are trying to figure things out. So there's also a deleted scene in a courtroom where the Burgermaster is taking testimonies of people who have witnessed murders. And Una O'Connor is one of those people that have witnessed a murder.
Is she just like screaming her way through court?
So can you imagine? There was a version of the movie where there's even more Una. At least 2 deleted scenes.
Ugh.
We talked a little bit about the deleted character in the bottle. There was a little baby played by Billy Barty, the famous Billy Barty. And in the script, there's actually a bit of a meta reference in the script when describing that baby. So when Pretorius is revealing the bottles, he gets to the baby and he says of the baby, "I think this baby will grow into something worth watching." And then the description of the baby in the script actually says this: "In the jar is a baby already twice as big as the queen, and looking as if it might develop into a Boris Karloff. It is pulling a flower to pieces." The scriptwriter thought that was awfully funny.
I bet.
There was another deleted scene of the death of the Burgomaster.
How does he die?
I think the monster he's sitting in a chair and the monster comes up to him and strangles him. There's some photos of it.
Okay.
I always love the photo because he looks like a wax figure almost, the Burgomaster. And then so we get to the initial role of Dwight Fry in this. As I told you, he had a dual role that was put into one, which was that of a village idiot and a ghoul. So the ghoul role is pretty much what we get in the movie. The village idiot part, he was going to play a criminal, and he murders his aunt and his uncle to get their money and blames the murder on the monster. And then he apparently is also the one that ends up killing Frida. And he's also, if you remember...
That couple, the scene that we didn't talk about where it's like the couple and then they go upstairs.
Correct.
And there's like they're moaning and they're like...
Correct. And the initial cut of the movie also, those scenes, they say like, "Mrs. Newman." The moaning wasn't in it. They were supposed to be dead. They added the moaning later to make the kill count less.
Okay, because that didn't make sense to me that Una opens the door and then starts screaming and then you hear, "Oh."
Yeah, they just added that just to show that they're still alive. But in the initial version, they were dead. But The Dwight Fry character supposedly was supposed to have killed them, or they filmed it that way. Yeah, so most of the murders, or a lot of the murders that the monster ended up being accounted for in the final version, he wasn't supposed to be involved with at all. He was just blamed for those murders.
Gotcha.
Do you think that would have been better to keep that in the movie?
I do.
It would have been interesting.
I think that would have been very interesting.
I wonder if it would have taken too much away from the monster, though.
Well, the thing is that all of these murders don't make any sense. They don't, none of the assaults make any sense because he's showing at the beginning of the movie, he's being very cautious and he knows the difference between right and wrong. And yes, he does have a criminal brain, but he's at this weird turning point where he's running away from these people. It makes sense for him to attack the guards because the guards are holding him back.
Yeah.
But it doesn't make sense for him to kill a child or attack these people. What I found really weird about it was that he would go upstairs.
Yeah. That's true.
So
another deleted aspect, which I don't think it was filmed, but this was an idea, but some people think maybe it was filmed. Basically, there was an original idea that I think was in the script originally, where, remember Dwight Fry goes out to get the heart of someone, a new heart?
Sure.
He was going to cut out the heart of Elizabeth and put it in the bride. And that is why the bride has the attraction towards Henry at the end.
That would explain so much.
So it's very interesting to think about that. I kind of actually like that.
I do too.
But because of the bride's reaction, a lot of people feel like when they filmed Elsa Lanchester's scenes, that was still the intended version. That's how she played it, basically.
Yeah.
They ended up not doing that, as we know.
I kind of wish they had.
There would have been a scene also with Carl, Dwight Fry, going in the cave and cutting her heart out, or attacking her. There was also another scene of Carl, or Dwight Fry, finding the little people in the jars and just kind of commenting on them.
Mm-hmm.
And then another, not a deleted scene, but an altered scene is, so if they were to do this version of the heart going into the bride, obviously Elizabeth is dead. She can't come back to get Henry. Henry would have died in the explosion. The monster would have no reason to tell him to leave, to go,
Mm-hmm.
So initially in the script, Henry Frankenstein was supposed to die in the explosion, and they filmed it that way. In fact, if you still watch the movie, you could see Dr. Frankenstein in the explosion after he left.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's still there if you look closely.
Huh.
So they changed at the last second to again tack on a happy ending, just like they did in the first movie.
Mm-hmm.
Which I can't say I'm upset about that because you get the great line of the monster saying, "We belong dead."
Yeah.
If he
but
didn't,
even if he had said that to Henry.
That's true. He could have said that to him.
Yeah, because
also.
he could have just been like, "We belong dead. Pull that lever."
We belong dead. Because there were so many cuts, the village murder scene going to the blind man scene kind of seemed to come out of nowhere.
Mm-hmm.
So James Whale felt that they needed to add a scene now to bridge the movie, to make it flow better. So that's when he added the gypsy camp scene in. So that wasn't in the original cut. So after the movie, right before it opened, he had Karloff come back and Jack Pierce, and they built him up and they put him in the scene. And they filmed it. And if you notice, this is the only scene of the movie that doesn't have music because the music was already done by that point.
Oh.
So I told you initially the movie had a scheduled budget of $293,750.
Okay.
It ended up going over budget and being $397,023.79. Over $100,000 more than what the initial budget called for. So the movie was made. Some people didn't know what to make of it. Carl Laemmle Jr. probably, actually, the producer of the movie, the executive who owned, Universal Studios, he was upset because there was too much humor in the movie. John Balderston, who wrote the script, he was upset because he thought there was too much horror in the movie. Colin Clive was upset because he's still alive. But it opened April 20th, 1935 at the Pantages Theater, and people loved it. There were some reviews of the time, such as, The Hollywood Reporter says, "One of the finest productions that has come off the Universal lot for many a day. Mounted extravagantly, gorgeously photographed, excellently cast. Karloff is superb as the monster. Elsa Lanchester in a dual role is excellent. Una O'Connor walks away with the feminine honors for as neat a bit of acting as has come to our eyes and ears for some time. Exhibitors can guarantee a fine production of a creep yarn, beautifully acted and directed.
Very nice.
Rave reviews from the Hollywood Reporter. The New York Times says, good. I'm kidding. They said that.
I was like, what?
So yeah, it got really great reviews and then ended up doing great. It made a bunch of money. With all the worrying, it became a huge hit. Overseas, though, they demanded some cuts. So overseas, the version that they get isn't quite the same. Lots of the religious talk was cut.
The whole hermit praying over.
I don't know if that would have been cut, but things like the blasphemous talk, or, you know, when Dr. Pretorius talks about Bible stories, if you call them, you know, things like that. And also in England, they cut the scene of the monster over the corpse in the coffin saying, friend, because they thought that was a little bit too close to necrophilia.
That's more on them than it is on.
Exactly. So the movie did great, as I say, and it was actually nominated for an Oscar.
For what?
For Best Sound. It didn't win, though, unfortunately.
Oh.
But it's the only Universal Monster movie to be nominated for an Oscar.
Oh, wow.
But I think Karloff should have been nominated for Best Actor. Probably win, too.
Best Actor?
But yes, Best Actor.
Best Actor.
But yeah, that is the story of Bride of Frankenstein.
The Bride of Frankenstein.
So how do you like it, Anthea? Do you like the movie?
I will say this is probably my favorite monster movie.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Your favorite monster movie or Universal monster movie?
My favorite Universal monster movie.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, good. I'm glad to hear it.
Highly recommend. I will be watching this again and again. I would like to see it again in the movie theater because I think we did see it in the movie theater.
We did. We saw the first 3 in a row.
Yeah. Great picture, as you would say.
It's a great picture, and, you know, it has become part of our pop culture for forever. Expertly parodied in Young Frankenstein.
Yes.
My name is Harold, and I live here all alone. What is your name? I didn't get that. Nope.
Which we will need to cover for this podcast.
Yeah. Gene Hackman plays a great blind man. And yeah, so that's it. So where can the folks find us?
You can find us at podsandmonsters.com, as well as on Instagram. You can find us at Pods and Monsters Podcast, on Facebook and Twitter at Pods and Monsters. Yeah, that's pretty much it. Please, if you have a moment, please rate and review us on iTunes. It'd be greatly appreciated. It helps us get out there. And we have updated our movie schedule up until the end of the year. So check it out to see what's up next. Which actually I'm very excited about what we're going to do next. So, because it's one of my favorites.
That's right.
Yeah, and your favorites, and I don't know who doesn't like this movie. Oh, if you have any suggestions or want to leave us any comments and not necessarily rate us, you can go ahead and email us at podsandmonsters@gmail.com.
So for Pods and Monsters, my name is Boris.
My name is Cynthia.
And I am going to have a cup of tea. Good night.
Good night.
And pleasant dreams. Goodbye and so long.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.
Come along, it's all over. Get back to your homes, go to sleep.